Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. We have people tuning in to Live with DeLores all over the world, and I am so happy that you joined us. I think we have a great show all the time, but this one maybe you might need to get some tissues or something. I've got mine right over here just in case, because sometimes life can be challenging, or can we say life happens? I know it's happening to me now. But thank you for tuning in to Live with DeLores. I'm your host, DeLores Presley. I am all about empowering women and girls and helping women elevate their lives and elevate their influence and really living the life that they want. I came out the womb doing that because that is my purpose. I hope you know your purpose, but that's definitely my purpose. Again, thank you for tuning in. Now, have you ever felt sort of down? Have you ever felt that life is just kicking you around? Have you had challenges in the midst of this pandemic? And by the way, I think we're still in a pandemic, but have you had any challenges? And if you have, then this show is for you. So, all of you who have had some kind of challenge, raise a hand or put something in the chat saying it's happened to me. And if it hasn't happened to you, guess what? Just keep on living because life truly happens. It does all of the time. So I wanted to go back a little bit with She Elevates. This show is not about She Elevates, but I'm so intrigued with the young ladies that we work with. Last week we were on live on TV Fox 8 because we were talking about the academy, and we featured a young lady who had been in the She Elevates Academy. It's all about empowering girls to be confident, leaders, entrepreneurs, CEOs, community activators. It's so important that we nurture our girls. So you have to check out sheelevates.org. We might have a few pictures here that we can flash on where Miss Jasmine was on Fox 8, and Christy Cable was such an amazing host, and she made us feel so good. But go check out and get your girl, ages 8 to 14, in the academy, and visit sheelevates.org. And Miss Vickie works a lot, and you're going to be introduced to her in a minute, but she works a lot with She Elevates, and she does so much for She Elevates. Today, the show is entitled How to Be Resilient in the Midst of a Storm. We have a special guest, Vickie Hogan. Hey, Miss Vickie.
Hello.
Hey, we're so excited to have you here today. You just so inspire me. And we're talking about resilience and how to just be resilient in the midst of the storm or whatever you may be going through. What I want to do first is absolutely thank you for the support that you have given me as my personal assistant. But I am inspired by you because you have been through some challenges, but yet you still rise. Yet I rise. And I love that about you. So welcome, welcome, welcome to
Thank
Live
you.
Doors.
Thank you so much.
So how did you even start working with me? Let's share that story first.
Well, that was the funniest thing because when you turned 50, I had the pleasure, Grant had asked me to MC your party. And I had met you, and when I moved to Canton here, and I said, I need to be your assistant. You was like, oh, oh, okay, yeah, okay. I said, I don't know how to do technical stuff and all that kind of stuff, but I need to be your assistant. And 10 years later, you asked me, are you able to travel to Florida? I'm like, what? Yes, I can. We were going to Disney, and I politely, that was my first job, going to Disney. And that's amazing because that was 10 years later. So
Yeah.
you never know what God got in store for you.
Yes, that is so true. And on this show, many times we've talked about ask for what you want. So you asked me the first time, I wasn't quite ready, and God wasn't quite ready, but
Right.
He knew that I would be ready and that you would be ready. And you have traveled all over with me and work with us, and She Elevates, and just the things that you do for us. Again, I say thank you. Love you too, girl.
I know. I love you too.
Now you've been through some challenges in your life. Let's kind of go back or any like dating. Let's go way, way back. So
Hmm.
as you were dating or anything like that, were you ever involved in any kind of abusive relationships?
It's mental. I never knew what mental anguish was, but I did find out through different relationships. But God, got me through all of that. You know, and sometimes God has to remove someone out of your life to make you see what you really need over here. So, I was divorced for 17 years before I even met George. You know, and and as I said, he has to remove people out of your life sometimes. We have a tendency to want to hold on to things. And I think it was Maya Angelou that said, when people show you who they are, believe it.
The
And you got
first
to
time.
move on.
That is one of my favorite quotes. That is so true. Because
You got
people
to move on.
right. So people who have been involved in abusive relationships and so forth, what would you say to them that would help them possibly get out? I know people say just leave and all that. It's not that easy to just
It's
leave and
not. It's
all of
not.
that. And you, first of all, I think you need to have a plan and you need to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. But what's your advice to people who are challenged with some type of abuse?
Yeah, I would definitely say have a plan. And everybody, your friends are always so quick to say, girl, if I was you, I'd be gone. Girl, if I was you, I'd do this. You don't know what you would do in that situation. And until they get tired and of being sick and tired, then they will leave. And once they leave, I mean, there's nothing you can do to turn them around. At least not, it wasn't for me. There's nothing you could do, anybody could do. I was ready to go. I was ready to go. And that's what you have to do.
So you've had oh, a lot of challenges, but you are so resilient. So let's talk about your experiences with breast cancer.
Hmm. Well, I'm a three-time breast cancer survivor, and God has carried me through. The first time I was diagnosed, I was 47 years old, and I was a person that got my mammograms on time, did all that, self checks, everything, and the doctor said, "Oh, I feel something over here on your right breast." I said, "Oh my goodness," and I was a little bit nervous, and then um, and he said, "Oh, it's not feeling right." And I put my clothes on back. I put my shirt on backwards. I was just devastated. And then when he did find out, they did a biopsy, and it was malignant. And I was just devastated. I just didn't know what to do. And that same day that he told me that, I had to MC a program at another church. So I was in front of a whole church full of people in Martins Ferry, Ohio, and I had to really pull myself together. Talk about leaning on the Lord. I said, Lord, you got to do this for me. Because he said, yes, it was malignant. And then I had to go and do that. So I was just ready to call the funeral home, get my house in order. I said, well, they said the big C word. I couldn't even say cancer. And I said, well, I'm going to be dying soon. So I might as well go into the funeral home, get my stuff in order and all this other stuff. But God said, not so.
Not
Not
so.
so.
Not so. So that's resilient right there. Because I'm not sure if someone had told me that I got that diagnosis, could I go and MC a program? So where do you get that grit, that gutsy? Where does that come from?
My mom was a very strong woman. She was a very strong woman. And not only that, on February 19th, 1976, when I cried out to God at Wayman AME Church in Wheeling, West Virginia, he did a wonderful thing. He saved me for real. You hear me? He saved me for real. And I just had, I mean, you have ups and downs, but you just have to talk to yourself and talk to the Lord about what's going on. And I said, Lord, I really need you like right now to come in and move. And I just had to always just, it seems like climbing a mountain, climbing my way through things. And I don't know where, it just has to come from the Lord. I don't know where. I have strong there's a lot of strong females in my family. My older sister, my younger sisters. I have cousins that are strong, have been through challenges, and we just keep pushing because, we are a close family.
You are. I can attest to that. Sisters are calling all of the time. I
Every
think
day.
you're with that DeLores again. She's my sister too, from another mother. All right, sisters. So, Vickie, you definitely were doing your mammograms. Is that correct? You regular
Yes.
testing. And so the first time you found out through a mammogram. So
Yes.
we definitely want our viewers to make sure you are getting mammograms. And
Hmm.
I want men to watch their breasts as well because men get breast cancer
Yes.
as well. So really feel, touch. I mean, I think maybe you should, I don't know how they tell you to do, like maybe on your birth date, like I was born August 7th, and every month on the 7th, make sure I do self exams. So we can't stress enough that you need to get regular mammograms. So you go through it the first time.
Hmm.
And what do you do on the second time? How did that come about?
Well, let me go back to the self exams are important. When you're in the shower and you're wet and your hands are wet and everything, that's a good time to do self exams because you know your body, and it's important to know your body. So you should always do self exams as well as mammograms. But the second time around, um, I was 60 years old then, and when I had the first time, DeLores, I had to have radiation. I did radiation every day for 6 weeks. Every single day I had to have radiation before I went to work. And I refused to miss work when I was going through the radiation. I was also coordinating a 3-day festival in Wheeling, West Virginia. And I said, I'm going there. I'm going right before I go to work. I would go out to Wheeling Hospital, get my radiation and go. So anyhow, when you do the radiation, I picked up weight and the right side didn't pick up weight. The left side did. So I said, you know what? I can't even buy a regular bra. I want to be able to, so I was trying to get myself together. So I went to see a plastic surgeon to see if I could get myself together. He said, oh, sure. I got cleared to do that. I was cleared. So they did the surgery. I thought I was good to go. And then when I went back for the checkup after the surgery, he kept asking a little bit too many questions. He said, well, now what side was your cancer on? And he was just asking too many questions. And I said, listen, what are you trying to tell me? He said, well, I hate to tell you this, but your cancer was back in that right breast. And he said, now you're going to have it removed because you cannot re-radiate that same breast. You just could have sold me for a nickel. I mean, I was just outdone. I was really outdone. And I said, I said, tell me that you're just kidding me, okay? Tell me. He says, no, I'm sorry, but you're going to have your breast removed. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I don't want either one of them. Take them both. I don't want to deal. He said, well, it may be 5 years before it comes in the other one, or I'm not dealing with that. I said, we're going to take that now. And I talked to my husband, George Hogan, at the time. And he said, honey, listen, I consulted him first. He said, I didn't marry you for that. I married you for your heart. And I said,
Beautiful.
I said, that is it. But let me tell you, do you see how God was in the plan? Because I went to see the plastic surgeon, had no other problems, but I went to see him. Had I not seen him, that could have went on and on and on. See, but God was in that plan as well. So,
all right, yes.
I mean, you just never know.
God bumps thinking about the miracles of God, and even the word says God goes before us. So He already went before you about something else for a breast reduction, and here they find out that there is cancer. But had you not done that, like you said, you may have never found out about that.
That's right. That's right.
You have some courage. Okay, so now we've dealt with it. You've had a double mastectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, last week we talked about how to be confident no matter your size, how you look. And I know that you are very confident with your prosthesis. You wear a prosthesis?
Right, that's correct.
So I want you to speak to someone right now who may be dealing with breast cancer, someone who may be dealing with any kind of health challenge. Just give them a word. Just give them a word of encouragement, please.
Well, any woman that is dealing with breast cancer, and a lot, African American women die more of breast cancer than Caucasian women because they don't know their body, or they don't want to get the mammogram, or if they go have a mammogram, sometimes they're mistreated in doctor's offices. That's why, these types of things need to be, diversity needs to be taught in doctor's offices. And once they get treated bad, they probably say, oh, well, ain't no need going back. I'm not going back there. And I can understand that because you're already devastated by the diagnosis. And then you're going to mistreat me too, or act like I'm lesser than. And I would challenge any woman to go. I'll go with you. Call me. I'll go with you. Hit me up on Facebook or Messenger. I'll go with you and I'll hold your hand because I've been there. When I went those 2 times. Well, the first time I was by myself. There was no one there for me. So I will go with you. And listen, get checked. Prosthesis ain't that bad. I didn't want to do reconstruction. I didn't, because I know that's a process as well. But I said, hey, I'm just going to have to buy me some breasts and go on about my business. So, hey, I just buy them. I said, what I ain't got, I'll buy. I'll buy hair. I'll buy breasts. What the
Girl,
hell?
you're gorgeous. Whatever. You are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous inside and outside. So during this pandemic, then you get diagnosed again. I remember you coming into the office and saying that you felt a lump. Let's talk about that third time.
Okay. I was at home and just happened to feel underneath my arm. I laid on the bed and happened to feel underneath my arm. I said, where did this come from? And I said, what is this? So I knew I had better get it checked. And I went to the hospital, had it checked, had the ultrasound done. And sure enough, the doctor said, I'm 90% sure it's malignant. I was like, I'll be daggone. I mean, come on, Lord, not again. And but you know what? I had a bad habit of I would go to the gym and women listen to me. Do not put your phone in your breast, in your bras. Don't do that. I would do that all the time. I would go to the gym and I'd stick it in there because I had a lot of space in there. I just stick it in there. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I don't know if that's where it came from, but it seems to me that it makes sense because that's where I would stick my phone sometimes. But I went and I had to have that removed. I had 6 lymph nodes that were malignant. And when the doctor told me, I was just hoping and praying to God I did not have to have chemo. But he said, I'm sorry, you have to have chemo because you had 6 lymph nodes that were malignant. So I had to have, I was devastated about that. I had to have 20 treatments of hard chemo. But I told the Lord and I told the adversary, I will not be sick. I will not have all those other, I will not. I told the nurses and the people at the office there, I said, I appreciate y'all, but I will not be sick. And I'm telling you, your mind can make things happen. And I said, Lord, I'm not going to be sick. I told the devil, it's not today. I'm not the one. I will not be sick. And they had that red devil stuff that they shoot in your veins and all that kind of stuff. You can shoot what you want. I'm not having it. I'm not doing it.
Love that, Vickie. I call those faithamations, where you use your faith and you affirm. A lot of people call them affirmations, but I call it, and I see you living faithamations, where you just use your faith. And I know that it can help. And I will not. You were like, and you were not sick. Look at that. You were
I
not
was not.
going through the mist. Talk about resilience. Girl, you should have resilience. When we look up the word resilience in the dictionary, your picture should be there. Now, you had a whole nother challenge during the pandemic. You want to talk about your baby doll?
Yeah. But I wanna make sure everybody understands. Don't get it twisted now. I did have down days. I've had good days and I've had some bad days, but I won't complain. But
Okay,
and that's where you're.
Sing it for us.
You want me to sing that song?
Yeah.
I won't complain. But I'm gonna tell you something. That's where your support system comes in. I would talk to you sometimes. Oh, I feel terrible today. Or if I go try on clothes and I have to watch about things I buy because I do have a mastectomy. That's where your family comes in and your support system. You always have to have someone to talk to. And whoever's out there that has a family member that has cancer, let them talk. I don't care how long it takes, because talking is part of the healing. So let them talk about how simple it may seem to you, or they may have said it already before. Let them talk. That's part of their healing. But then my baby dog got sick. My sweet husband, he fell in the backyard and broke his femur in 3 places. And you know how they say you never recover from a fall when you get a certain age. And he was in the hospital for a while, and then he had to have and then during the pandemic he had to be in rehab for 2 months because he couldn't put no weight load bearing on that leg. So all we did, and that was in November. So I spent Christmas and New Year's by myself. There's my sugar plum. And I had to spend Christmas and New Year's by myself because he had to stay in the rehab facility. But you know, he got a little bit worse. He came home and could not get his leg straight to walk, and he did rehab and everything, and then he just kept getting worse and worse. And long story short, he passed September 12th, 2021.
Oh, we miss him so
Yeah,
much. We miss him
yeah,
so much. And we are continuing to pray for you, Vickie, for your strength. And I thank you for sharing. And people think I'm always up. I mean, we're human. So there are
mhm,
going to be some challenges, but get you a good support system. That definitely helps
yes.
you on those down days. But I think you've had more good days than down days, just seeing you and seeing who you are. So we're already going over time because I
Oh,
know, first of all, I love interviewing people. And secondly, your story is so amazing. I want to talk about your son really quickly, like a minute, because we're going to need to go. But you have a famous son.
yeah,
You have a famous son.
yep.
Tell
Ellie
us about him,
Simon.
who he is. Say it again.
Ellie Simon. He's my sweetheart. He he's I'm so proud of him. He everything that he gets that the Lord has blessed him with, he has put in the work, and he deserves every bit of it. He self-taught tap dancer. I put taps on the bottom of his construction boots because our house was carpeted, and he would tap dance on top of the TV stand. Took the TV off and tap on the wood TV stand, and uh, he's put in the work. He's put the work in, and he travels all over the world. And he had a friend that committed suicide when they were seniors in high school, and that's what started him on the anti-bullying circuit. And he's just a good young man. I
I
love my
really
son dearly.
I know you do. I love him too. But I really want to commend you because you didn't have the most easy life when he was a little boy. You had challenges, but still something that was in you, you instilled in him. And now he's been on Broadway, he was on Stomp. I mean, he's just so amazing. You'll have to check out Alec Simon because his story is amazing too. I have to get him on live with DeLores because his story is so good.
Can I
Any
add one little thing in there? I'm
course,
sorry. You
of
know,
course, no.
any mother that has a child, make sure that you, and I know when I was raised in LA, God said, well, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. I let him hear me pray for him. I would make him
Yes.
kneel down beside that bed with me
Mhm,
and hear me talk to
mhm.
God about him. He'd be like, "Oh, mom, don't tell God, don't tell him." I'm going to tell him. I'm telling.
Tell it.
And, you know,
Oh God.
I'm telling. You got to understand. I said, "Don't lose your wits." I said, "No." He said, well, "How I know what my wits are?" I said, "If you see me in your face, you'll know you lost your wits."
That's good. That's
But
good.
mothers, pray for them children. Let them hear you pray. Let them hear you pray. I'm telling you, it means
Yes.
something.
Yes, and teach them to pray. They might not do
Yes,
it always, but at
yes,
least they have it instilled in
yes.
them. So, any final comments that you want to say to our viewers today? I can't thank you enough, Vickie, for sharing your story. As I've told you, I believe your story should be, I think it should be a movie personally, but I think your story is so powerful. And a lot of our viewers have powerful stories too. And be sure to email me or just connect with me because I'd like to share your story too as well. So, final comments from Miss Vickie, who is so resilient.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on here. It was a pleasure. And I just want to say I thank and praise God for my sister in law, Joanne McPherson. She helped me and was such a support for me during the time that her brother, my husband, was sick and then passed away. I could not have done anything without her. She helped me tremendously, and I thank and praise God for my sister-in-law, who's really my sister. We call sisters,
Yes.
and I am so grateful for you and Grant, all the support that you gave me and my friends. It's just in my church. I just listen. If I can help anybody out there as far as the breast cancer, if I can come talk to you, if you need me to hold your hand, pray for you, whatever the case may be, just hit me up on Facebook or somewhere, and I'll come. I'll come.
She will. She will, because I've had friends who've gone through challenges with breast cancer and she's spoken to them. And Vickie, I just say, God bless you. God bless you. I love you so much. And just God has a reason for you here on earth, and you are continuing to live. And there's more for you in store. You say sometimes I prophesize, but anyway, there's more for you in store. Okay.
All right, I'm ready to receive it.
All right. We're going to close out with our Presley PowerPoint for the day. Life gives us storms, floods, and fires, but God gives us hope. Oh, I need to say that one more time. Life gives us storms, floods, and fires, but God gives us hope. He makes beauty out of ashes. I had to go to the word on this one, Isaiah 61:3. All right, I love you. Make sure you share this broadcast. Feel free to make comments. Miss Vickie will comment. I will comment. We thank you for tuning in to Live with DeLores. Go out there and be resilient.